Nighttime, that's when I go up. So the lights in my eyes won't shut. ISO where the night goes sending out. Messages full of typos, fuck. Need it all cause this lights won't cut. Bitch, I like what I like, so what? You are not my type, though, trust. We ain't fucking if your thighs don't touch.
It's dark outside, inside too.
Yeah.
Why such a depressing ass title?
I think it just represents the music, man. It's like that's where I was during the writing process. You know what I'm saying? That's what you can hear it clearly once you actually hear the music. You can hear that that's kind of where my mind state was at.
Okay.
So it's just representative of the music. You know, it doesn't necessarily mean to be depressing or anything like that.
But you say that, right? But the cover art also is like, I don't know. From what I got from the cover art was like, essentially, there are all these feelings and emotions going on inside of you, and it's kind of like, you know, they're like trapped in.
Yeah.
It's a lot of plethora of different things going on. Is that kind of what you're going for?
That's pretty much exactly what it is. Yeah. And then also,
by the way, shout out to Jack. That's
Jack Merton.
Yeah, he's fire.
Okay, he's awesome. Yeah. But that definitely is the theme of it. And if you notice, like, the imagery is grayscale,
right?
It's kind of dull, and then around it is brightness, which is kind of how I feel. You know, at the time that I was writing the whole project and going through like the emotions around it, there was a lot of good shit around me that I just wasn't taking in.
Right.
So that's kind of what it represents.
How long did it take you to complete this project?
That's tough, man. These songs were spread through like a lot of creation. It wasn't necessarily like a back-to-back thing. I made a lot of music, and then I kind of handpicked it out of what was going on at the time. So I probably actively worked on this project for, I don't know, 8 months or so.
That's not bad, bro. You're like notoriously like take your time, you know, which is good ultimately because you put out quality work. You know?
Thank you, man.
But real quick, back to Jack. How do you feel about like? I feel now like other people are starting to use Jack, right?
Yeah.
and me knowing you, you're like very like, you know, you don't like people. I mean, maybe I don't speak for you, but I feel like you're very like unique with your style, with how you have your designs. Your
I mean, so I definitely, people like brought that to my attention, and I get it. I'd say I'm not like mad at anybody for it. Obviously, I want whoever I work with to grow and like be able to spread their work around or whatever. But I think in general, when you do something that's not normal, you kind of like for it to be a part of what you do and stay that way.
Right.
But that's just how shit happens. People are gonna,
people are gonna try to
do what they like.
How important is cover art to you?
The most. I can't even tell you how many albums I didn't listen to because the artwork was subpar or whatever. And I think that it's especially important if you're not the most known artist in the world. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because if you have a 5-second window to get somebody's attention, it's going to be what they see. It's not always going to be what they hear. You know what I'm saying? People scroll through Instagram.
Right.
People scroll through Twitter, and imagery is very important. So I take that very seriously.
Yeah, the cover art caught me by surprise, man. Like, you know, with the bright yellow and then the graphic in the middle of the face. I was definitely curious to see what the album's going to sound like. And with the title, it all just encompassed, like, you know, it definitely caught my attention. Like you said, scrolling through Instagram, I just saw it. I was like, whoa, like,
and that's tight. That's what I go for.
So now let's get into the project, man. Death Wish, right? Why Death Wish is the title?
So I named it that because of the first couple
Place
words.
When I Die.
Yeah, Place When I Die. I felt like after I kind of rapped that whole song, afterwards I was like, man, like I feel like you can figure out where my mind was at, who I am, what I think. You know, different opinions. I mean, it's even like as far as how I feel about my status in rap or just all types of random shit. I feel like if you listen to that song, you'll know exactly where my mind is at most of the time, even though it's kind of all over the place.
Right. First bar that you start off the whole project with is don't call me underrated, I get hella respect.
Yeah.
And to me, that line represented, so maybe I looked into it too much or more than the average fan.
Nah, you didn't, man.
But to me, what it represented was, you know, that you're kind of aware of your positioning, but, you know, you don't want anyone to feel bad for you because at the end of the day, like, you're still the shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, in a way.
In a sense, I could see. Maybe you did look into it a little too much. No, I'm playing. Maybe. But I definitely wrote that line to represent the thought process of, like, I appreciate when people say, like, oh, man, you're overrated. Like, you should be a lot bigger than you are or whatever.
Right.
Like, that's obviously a compliment, but it also comes with like an undertone of like not recognizing where I think I'm at, or like how good I might think I am, or whatever. I mean, speaking as a rapper, like we have to think we're fucking. You know what I'm saying? So that's kind of where it was, just on some cocky rapper shit, realistically.
Why did you choose to make that the first track on the project? Or did you have that intention going into it, like this is gonna be the first one?
No, as soon as I heard the beat, as soon as Ryan played me the beat, I knew like, all right, that's the first song on my next project. I knew it right away.
Did Ryan produce the whole EP?
No, Ryan produced the first 3 songs, and then Saya produced Dark Times, the last song on the project.
What's like your creative relationship with Ryan? Like, how do you guys? Because you guys recorded together a lot. Like,
yeah. It's probably like the easiest thing in the world for me. It gets frustrating, you know. We don't see eye to eye a lot, but that's almost what makes it good, because he's one of the only people that's willing to call me out on my shit, whether it's artistically or like how stubborn I am or like how long I fucking hold on to songs. Yeah, he's one of the few people that be like, "What the fuck are you doing?" You know what I'm saying? So it works out really well. Our creative process is very seamless, man. It's just like a lot of times he'll just be making some off kilter shit, and I'll hear a slight piece of it that I like, and then we'll take that and build on from there. Sometimes he brings me completely finished pieces of work, and I'm like, this is exactly what I needed right now, you know? So we just understand each other. Yeah,
I feel like you guys complement each other very well, because although you guys are kind of, I feel like you guys kind of have similar styles, but it's also different at times.
Yeah, for sure. And we have a great musical relationship, man. You know, we come from different musical backgrounds, which I think helps, because we're not coming from the same perspective or the same angle ever, and we're both open to the other person's perspective. You know what I'm saying? There's certain things that I might suggest that he's like not about musically. He doesn't not necessarily not get it, but he doesn't think that it's a good idea. Right. So that challenges me, and vice versa. You know, sometimes I'm like, no man, on some rap shit, this is what it needs to be. You know, so it's just a perfect blend.
On Death Wish, you have a line. Maybe I'm butchering the line. You said something like, "I don't trust religion, so I put it in my name." Yeah. I always wonder, where did the whole DeSaint come from?
It's mainly inspired by my conflict with religion. Like I grew up in Jamaica. Okay. Very prominent Christian people in general, and I would catch myself just zoning out in church. You know, we went to church 4 or 5 times a week. I was just like, what's going on here? You know what I'm saying? So like, it was always something that I won't say I questioned it, but I didn't agree with every aspect of it, and I think that a lot of people, especially now in these times where you're kind of allowed to say more about what you feel about like traditional thought processes, it was just always something I kind of challenged, and that's one of the things that inspired my name, because it's like, you know, I could call myself a saint like a lot of other people do, but I know that I'm not 100% that. So that conflict is kind of representative of my music, how I write. Like it's always like I could be this person one day and that person the next day. Yeah. And that's where it comes from. That's where like my whole infatuation with like religion comes from.
You also have a line here where you actually, this is probably like one of my like, I don't know if it came out like around the same, because it came out kind of around like close to like the whole the Gucci situation or whatever, but like when you said I never wore a thing made by Alexander Wang, fit in all black, sponsored by my pain. Is that like a shot to like high name brands?
High fashion. Yeah, 100%. I never got into high fashion. I always felt like it was weird in the nicest way possible. It's just strange, bro. Like, you know, I've seen people essentially like leave the tags on their shit or talk about how it's just strange, bro. Like if you don't like what you're wearing, then why are you wearing it? And I feel like that's what it is. And a lot of people just get real wrapped up in that. I've just never been about it. So that was just my way of saying like fuck high fashion.
So what you're saying is A$AP Rocky's whack.
A$AP Rocky's cool, and I feel like A$AP Rocky wears that shit for a much different reason than a lot of people do. I don't know him personally, obviously, but I've never gotten that he's just trying to show out. Obviously, he's like a fashion, fashionista or whatever. But I just got that he just wants to wear what he wants to wear, because he gets clowned a lot.
He does. He
takes it on the chin for what he wears. So I don't feel like he's lame at all.
But all right, so the next record on this, DeSaint Row, isn't that like a video game or something like that?
Yeah, Saints Row is a video game that came out a while back, and I always thought that was like it would be a tight name flip. I thought about that a long time ago, and I just felt like this was the perfect song to apply it to. But yeah, I played that game, and shout out to Kid Quest for trying to call me out because he thinks that I've never played the game. I'm just like clout chasing in the video game world for whatever reason. But yeah, that's what it's inspired by, that video game title.
Man, the first time I heard this record, man, what really caught my attention was the beat, bro. Like, man, Ryan's gotten so good, bro. Yeah. Like, and his style varies. Like, it still kind of has like the same. Like, I can tell it's a Laser beat,
right?
But it's not like the same exact beat.
There's definitely like a Ryan Laser DNA to his beats,
right?
But you're not getting the same thing over and over again. You can tell that he did something. Mm-hmm. He produced a song.
Is that one of the ones where you were sitting with him the whole time? Or he brought it to you already finished?
I think he started I don't really remember. I think he started like just the very, very basic drums in that song. Like as I got to his house, like I walked in and it was playing, and I was like, "Oh shit!" And then he kept adding to it. And that song is interesting because we actually tried to add more to that beat.
Yeah.
And then realized that we were doing it a disservice, and we cut back on it. That's why the beat is so bare, because I felt like just the way that I was flowing on it and the cadence that I had or whatever, I felt like it needed room to breathe.
Yeah, I feel like that's like your specialty, bro. Like, you're like, to me, right? You shine the best when you're just delivering, not to be like corny, but when you're just delivering bars, right? Like,
yeah.
And it's over like a fire beat, and you're just going in. Like, that's what I like the most from you.
Yeah. And
I feel like that's like easy, like, and because like your bars, they're not like, they're like rapper braggadocio, but they're not like super exaggerated to like.
Yeah, because I mean, the last thing I would ever want is for somebody to just listen to something. I'm like, come on, man. So I try to keep it like, I try to keep it realistic, bro. Like, and when I get to a point where I can brag about different shit or talk about different shit or whatever, then I will. But until then, there's no need for all that like extra flexing.
Hip hop is a young man's game, correct? And for the most part,
generally speaking.
And I feel like you are able to gracefully. I'm talking like we old, but we not old. But what I'm trying to say is like,
I was about to say,
we still young, but like you're still like mature enough to where I can listen to it and not feel weird. Like, because sometimes I listen to like SoundCloud rap, and I can't really like.
Yeah, I mean the thing about that is like what's really, really, really popular right now and being like churned out a lot more is stuff for like 16 to 19-year-olds.
Yeah.
Realistically, the majority of what's out there is for that age group. So to me, it's a little refreshing to get something outside of that, and then not only that, but to be able to create something outside of that they can still enjoy too. To teeter that line a little bit. But yeah, it's difficult, man. It's not easy to navigate it, and it's not something I think about too much. But what I don't think about is making music specifically for the younger crowd. That keeps me where I need to be.
What is like your process for writing?
It varies.
Because I feel like you kind of write, but then you'll like go back later and like, right?
Yeah. So a lot of times I think about what I want to say first. As weird and corny as that sounds, like usually if I'm writing a song, I'll think about what I want people to walk away from it with before I even like write the words to it.
Okay.
How I want them to feel afterwards or whatever. Even something as simple as DeSaint, like I kind of want people to kind of like have that scrunch face when they hear that song. I knew that going in, so I was like, all right, I need to get into this mindset. But yeah, a lot of times I go back and revise stuff a lot, unless it's like somebody rapping on the song. I don't ever go back and change my verse ever. Cause
I was gonna ask that about
as a rapper. That's not okay. But I do go back and I'll fix things. It might be as simple as like that word. You can't hear what I said right there. I need to change that to a different word or whatever. But very intricate.
So you don't do like, because I know like one of the new ways of rapping is like people kind of like freestyle. Like they'll go in like catch a vibe and they'll like just go.
That doesn't really work for me personally. I think it's super, like Sling does that. I've seen him do it, and it's fucking fire. Like it's cool as shit, but it doesn't work for me personally. There's been times where I can get in the booth and like think about what I'm gonna say, record it as before without pre-writing it or whatever. But I'm definitely not like a melodic freestyler or whatever. Doesn't work for me.
Who did the sequencing for the project? You yourself?
Me, yeah.
So this one you kind of had it already, like this is number 2. This is right after, because to me it kind of follows the form, not really, but kind of follows the formula of the first round of Death Wish. Kind of like you're going in, it's like no notable, you know what I'm saying? It's like no crazy notable hook, no really. You're just kind of just rapping.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I knew when I made DeSaint that I wanted it to be the second song on the project. Like that's usually how I think too. It's like what would I want people to hear as the second song? Like, what would I want them to hear as the last song? Like, I usually like where my sequencing thought process comes in at.
Yeah. I feel like that's important. I feel like sequencing is like a lost art that people don't really catch. Like,
have you ever heard an album? This happens to me all the time. I hear albums where I'm like, I want to rearrange the album.
Yeah.
And I feel like I would enjoy it more.
Yeah. That happened to that happened to like Scorpion.
To
me.
My rearranging would have been deleting side B completely. But that's just me.
Another thing I want to ask also is like, how do you, because this brings us to the next song, how do you go on about picking who you want to get on the song?
I try to make the song first. You know, I'll so specifically speaking with Out of Time, Ryan sent me that beat. He sent me that beat completely finished, which is one of those rare moments where he works on it and then he's like, all right, I'm going to send this to Andre or whatever. So it's funny. I was like, I think I was at the Apple store. My phone was fucked up and I was like super pissed. Mm-hmm. So I walked outside and I get a text like, yo, check this beat out. And I listened to it. I was like, this is perfect. So I just like sat and wrote the whole first verse to that song. And after I recorded it, I met up with him and recorded it. I was like, yo, I'm going to send this to Slight. Like, I just knew that's who I wanted on the song. Mm-hmm. I just felt like it fit. I felt like the contrast of it would be perfect. And I feel like the tempo of it, he'd really be able to weave in and out of it properly. Like, so I try to apply my analysis of the type of artist it is to what I think would sound good with the song. It's never like it would be tight to do a song with this and this person. Like, that to me, that doesn't make a good song.
And you and Slight were in the studio together cooking, you know?
Right? Yeah. When we met up, so I did my part of the song and then kind of touched it up a little bit. And then once we had time, we got in the studio together to get his verse added to the song.
I feel like those are usually how you get the best collabs, because like mailing stuff in or emailing stuff in is like, I don't know, like just from my experience and things that I've seen and heard, it's like
you could tell.
Yeah.
Every feature on this project, we were in the room together.
And another thing I wanted to ask you is why didn't Sling spit a verse? Like I kind of was looking forward to a verse. Like
it just didn't happen on that song. I mean, it's not like a thought process where we were like, no, we're not gonna have you spit. It just didn't work out that way. Like we created the song, and his portion of the song was actually this very organic thing where he hit me up randomly at like 2 a.m.
Yeah.
Asked me what I was doing, and I was like, yo, I'm at Ryan's, and he's like, cool, I'm gonna pull up, and he pulled up. We played him that song, which we had literally just recorded, and he's like, yo, let me do something to this or whatever. So he did. And halfway through him doing it, me and Ryan looked at each other like, this is exactly what the song is. You know what I mean? Like, we just knew right away. So it wasn't, and I think we ended up doing some other shit that night. Him and Ryan made some shit that night. Like, it just worked out that way, man. It wasn't a conscious decision.
You got a line here that caught my attention. Maybe it was just like a rap line, but I just wanted to ask you about it. You said, I took all my life lessons from a felon. Could you like go into that line a little bit more?
Yeah, so it's kind of a blanket statement, but I realized at a younger age that a lot of people that I looked up to had like criminal backgrounds, and not because I wasn't taking criminal advice from them, obviously, right. You know what I'm saying? But like
some of those people have the best life lessons.
Yeah, for sure. They could teach you mostly what not to do. Right. You know what I'm saying? But even like a Jay-Z, you could listen to Reasonable Doubt and learn like a lot.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like. So it's a blanket statement for people like that, you know, people in my family, like people that have been through a lot of shit and gotten into a lot of trouble, been through a lot of adversity or whatever. So it wasn't speaking about one person.
Okay.
It sounded better that way, but it was talking about a lot of different people. A lot of people that I look up to wouldn't be accepted by your regular corporate America person. It's like they have a past, and it's.
So now the question of the conversation: do you feel like Slight got you, or you feel like you got Slight?
Yeah, I knew you were gonna ask that.
I'm gonna keep it real, bro.
Yeah, I'm gonna keep it real too. I think on that one, I think he edged me out a little bit. I think he went off, bro. He snapped.
But so all right. So to me, right, Slight is not like a super lyrical. Like I never heard like a Slight verse. Not to me, bro.
You're crazy, bro.
But to, maybe I don't listen enough Slight. I don't know.
Yeah.
But at least on that song,
he said some shit, bro. I'm not even saying that because we made a song together. Like Book of Water is like. I'm gonna check it out. I'm gonna give an honest review. But at least for me on this song, I feel like he edged you. I don't know. I feel like he just jumped on it with his delivery, and it caught the flow like at the perfect time. To me, like he just
just from the gate, it just
snapped. We all snapped on that song.
Yeah,
but he snapped, and like to me that's almost the point of a guest verse. You know what I'm saying? Like when somebody sends me something, I know I'm like, yo, this song is gonna be mine when I'm done. You know what I mean? Like that's how you should come at it. So I definitely appreciate him going hard on that song because I would have hated to collab with somebody and them not give me their best. You know what I'm saying? That's the way I look at it. Like, and the fact that people can even have that conversation about this song to me is tight because I know like as a super duper rap fan, that's what I think about. If I hear so and so did a song together that I've never done a song together before, but I respect them both. I'm always like, yo, who got the illest? Who got off on that one? Who snapped harder or whatever? So
I can't wait for you guys to perform, man. It's gonna be a dope performance.
Yeah, he's a great performer. I consider myself a good performer as well, so I'm excited to see like the reaction to it. And a lot of people
he be rocking the crowd too.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Have you seen him perform?
He went to at the barbershop, Ace of Faith.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I didn't get to go to that show. That was the one that
That was like the most recent one.
Okay, yeah, I didn't get to go to that one.
Are you gonna do the little sling shuffle on stage?
It depends, man. It depends on the vibe I catch.
Okay, so now the last record on the project. I feel like this is, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe like I feel like this is the most talked about record on the project.
Yeah, I'd say from the project.
Dark Times. All right, so. There's obvious things about the record, but something that I feel like, at least to me, I didn't catch it until yesterday, really, because I was listening to it yesterday. I feel like, yes, on surface, this song is a quote-unquote, like, at least it sounds like a sad song, right? Like a, I miss my dogs type stuff.
Yeah.
But I feel like that song was like a happy ending to it, like you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, it's not.
It wrapped up the project. Nice, like
for sure. To me, I think the purpose of that song is to talk about those feelings and those thoughts, but also to make sure that nobody listening to it comes away from it, or maybe it might take a couple listens, like you said, but I want people to come away from it thinking like both the situations that I talked about in those songs like have a positive or a silver lining at the end, where like at the end of the second verse, I said, like, I still believe in every one of you guys. Right. And that's true, bro. Like, I check for everything that people do or whatever. And I think that any tragic story or any situation that goes like that, you give yourself enough time to heal and come out of it, and you should have something positive to say about it. So that's kind of where I came from with writing it that way.
What was like, all right, so let's dig into a little bit deeper, right? The first verse, I seen the Curated interview, you said that was about your relationship, right? Yeah. When did you write that verse? Or how did you did you write it like right after your...
Yeah, so there was there was a period of time where, every relationship, you have your peaks and valleys and stuff. There was a period of time when I wrote that I just felt that way. It might have only been like a couple of days. It wasn't like, it wasn't like a year's worth of feelings or nothing. But to me, that's the best way to deal with certain things. As somebody that writes and is passionate about writing, sometimes that's the best way for me to get through a situation is to just write it down. And I think actually that first part of that song, I really wrote it in my head and kind of just recited it for a while until I decided to put it in song format.
Did you give her the heads up like, yo, like, got you on the verse?
Yeah, I played it for her early. You have to, man. You don't want those problems. But yeah, I showed it to her early on. And I think luckily the second verse is more... has more of like a shock factor to whoever listens to it, so it doesn't take away from the first verse, but it's more of the highlight of the song. Right. So
now Bill Suave, right? Did he write that hook, or you wrote it and gave?
I wrote the song, and then I just knew that he would be able to bring it to life.
Yeah,
in the best way possible.
I think that was that wasn't my first time hearing a Bill Suave record, but I don't know. Maybe I wasn't listening hard enough, but I haven't heard him sing like that, at least on his other songs.
Yeah, I think his trajectory has been slowly moving towards, I think, the sound that he has now. But he's very like versatile. Like if you listen to Summer Waves, like he has a song called Night Moves that's very funky and and it's just like it's a little more dark. But then closer to Dark Times, he has a song called Angel 226 that Saya also produced, and that's more in the vein of like what you hear on this song. I would definitely recommend checking those songs out. For sure.
I'll check. Was he there when you just sent it to him? Or
no. I don't do that, bro. Like I'd never do that. So I asked him to come through. Me, him, and Ryan met up, and I had kind of started the skeleton of the song.
Right.
And I just kind of showed him what I wrote and gave, put it out on the table for us to change anything or whatever. And he put his sauce on it, sang it the way he wanted to sing it, and it's fucking, it blew my mind, bro. For the first session, we did it, and it was like exactly what I wanted. So, shout out Bill, man. He killed that, and I'm excited for him to put out more music.
For sure. Now the second verse, you're talking about, obviously, as everybody knows, about the pay up breakup. How was it like writing that verse?
Difficult, to say the least. I'm not. I think historically, anybody that's paid attention to my music for long enough knows that I'm not really that open ever on songs. You know what I'm saying? So like, but I felt like while I was writing it, I felt like if I'm gonna talk about this, I need to talk about it. I need to talk about how I actually feel and all this shit. Like,
did you have to like watch old pay up vlogs first and get
Nah, man. Nah, dude, because when you're that close with people for that long of a time, like that, those thoughts never really go away.
Right.
At least for me, it never really went away. It wasn't something I had to like channel. It was just, that was what was on my mind at the time. So.
You know what that verse reminded me of? It kind of reminded me of like the Lil Wayne "I Miss My Dogs" record. Like, when he's kind of talking about the past, and he's saying that, man, I still miss y'all. Like, I was like, damn, bro, that's what it was. That like what you were going for? Or?
Yeah. I'd say. I mean, I even have a reference to "I Miss My Dogs" in the song, because anytime, to me, I hear a song that is reminiscent of just talking about like, man, shit was different. I wish it was kind of the same, but I'm also glad that we're all on our own path now. It always reminds me of "Miss My Dogs." Like, I don't know if you ever seen the video of Wayne. I guess he had found out that BG was in the club that he was performing at, and he brought him on stage. Bro, that's like, just on some rapper shit, that's like a historical video. Anybody that hasn't seen that should watch it now. But yeah, I definitely channeled that a little bit into the song, and I felt like that was like the main goal of it, is to feel the same way that I felt after I heard "I Miss My Dogs" for the first time.
You had a line there. You were like, looking up to heroes, I know we shared the same fate. I felt like a little Rockefeller breakup like reference. Yeah,
bro, that's crazy. Exactly. Yeah. I always felt like me and Jay especially looked up to Hov and Dame so much, bro. So to look up to them and then I remember when their whole ship separated, thinking about like, damn, I never thought that would happen, and then having the same feeling once Pay Up went our own ways. Fuck, I never thought that would happen. You know what I mean? I think one of the beauties of the song Dark Times is that you can apply that to your situation regardless of if we've been through the same things or not. The Saints Row is a really fun song. Death Wish is a really dark song. Right. Out of Time can go either way. You can turn up to that song, or you could just vibe to it on some like, chill stuff. But like, I just want people to take it in for what it is.
My last question. This is a personal question, bro. It's like, why did you not put Slick on the project?
Ooh, these niggas so sensitive. Just wait till I get my money right. I can go 100 days and 100 nights. I can flow 100 ways, none of them alike. Pussy, money, weed, I love alike. Roll full of choice, I just made another right. Bitch, I